Well, let's talk about the Test team. The announcement today of the Test side to play England in the third Test, and other matters pertaining to the game of cricket with former Australian cricket captain Ian Chappell. Ian, welcome to the program.
Thanks, KG.
Chappell, Michael Beer. What's your take on him? How surprised are you?
Well, I'll have to be fair with you, KG. I've been over at the SCG doing an interview with my brother, so I did know what the team was. So I guess now that you're asking me, I'm not that surprised. And I probably wouldn't have been surprised if I hadn't, talking to Greg earlier in the summer, he mentioned that he thought quite a bit of Beer. And I must say at that stage I didn't know much about him. But then, when Shane Warne mentioned him, following on Greg's comments,
yep.
I thought, I better keep an eye on this bloke. I haven't seen him, but, if Greg and Shane reckon he can bowl, there's a fair chance he can.
Exactly right. It does seem strange, Chappell, like he's played, only 5 first-class matches, taking 16 wickets. It does seem strange that a young man with that limited sort of time at first-class level gets a go at Test level.
Well, I think it tells us a bit about the spin bowling stock.
Yep.
But I guess the other thing is that if you really, if it's a bit like Mother Hubbard's cupboard, somebody who's bowled at the whacker a bit, might as well give him a go, as long as you think he's got some ability, obviously. But yeah, I think the most important thing is it's what it's telling us about the spin bowling stocks.
Yeah, and Chappell, no doubt he'll play. He's been picked, and they'll make one of the Quick's 12th man.
Well, I guess that'll depend on when they get over there. They might, if it was something that looked like it was going to seem all over the place and bounce, then being one down, they might be tempted to go, with just 4 quickies. But I think if it does go, if you see the team announced and there's no spin bowler there, I think you'll know that it's been done over Greg's dead body.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he and I are a bit, well, we're alike in a lot of ways, but I've heard him say, in fact, just recently, he's always felt that if 3 can't do it, 4 won't help you.
Exactly right. Where does that leave young Nathan Horrocks now, Ian?
I think probably despairing a bit. There's nothing to say that you can't come back, and even at an advanced stage, and I guess the guys who are most likely to come back are spinners.
Yep. Because
quite often, the penny does drop later in their career. But as I say, I was over at the SCG and I saw a bit of the cricket there, and he wasn't looking that penetrating on the last day. And I think if he'd have done something with the ball, having got 100,
yeah,
I think they would have probably preferred to play someone who's been around a bit in Ashes cricket rather than blood a new kid. But I think that probably tells us that Horrocks didn't impress him much at all.
And Marcus North gone?
Yeah. I remember, I think it was about the time that Michael Hussey came in that made his debut. And Alan Border, I think, was a selector at that stage. And he said, we've got to get used to Australia having more debutants aged 28. And I thought to myself, bollocks, that's codswallop as far as I'm concerned. Maybe the odd one, but it should never become a regular thing. And one of the reasons for that is, if you come into the side like a Michael Clarke or a Ricky Ponting at age 20, 21,
yep.
You hit a hurdle, as most young cricketers do. You disappear from the side, you come back at, say, 23, 24, you're a better player, you're stronger mentally, all those sort of things. You've still got a lot of your career to go, and the important thing is you've got your peak years to come.
Mm.
But you come in at 28, 29, you start well, you have a few good games, a couple of good seasons. Now 31, 32, suddenly you hit the wall, you're struggling, you get dropped. There's not much point in going back to you at 33, 34, because your peak years are gone.
Exactly.
Ian, a young man that is coming back into the squad, Phil Hughes, not making a swag of runs, just 0-4 in that tour match ago, the Shield match against SA. What do you feel on his chances on a bouncy whacker wicket?
Well, you look at his technique and you think, poor boy.
Yeah.
against good bowling, sensible bowling, you think to yourself, he's always going to give you a chance. But the thing about him, I mean, he's got a bit going for him in that every time he's put up to a new grade, he's made runs. And he's made them fairly quickly. And just watching him down in Hobart, he's an ugly player. You're not going to see many that are more ugly, although he has tightened his technique up certainly a bit. But the one thing he does, he knows how to make runs. And I think he's got a great attribute in that I don't think he's one of those guys who worries about the ball that's just gone past.
No.
Yeah.
It might have hit him on the gloves, it might have popped up in the air, bat pad might have run round and round in circles like a fowl with its head chopped off, and the ball plops down next to him, and all that Philip Hughes is worried about is the next one coming down.
Yeah.
He's not thinking to himself, crikey, I was lucky there, I got away with one. It's just, all right, that didn't get me out, what do you got now?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a great attribute. I mean, it's, I'm not for a moment comparing him with Doug Walters, and not for a second am I saying that Doug Walters was anywhere near as ugly a player as Phil Hughes. He wasn't. But Doug Walters had that great attribute as well. All he worried about was the next one that came down, and that's why, or not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why he was very successful.
Chappell, can I throw another one at you? Michael Gatting, you've probably read the story, has made the point that he believes that Ricky Ponting should, after this series, hand over the captaincy, and if he did that, that would prolong his career. What's your take on that?
Well, I've written it a couple of times that, this Ashes series should be the end of his captaincy. Certainly at Test level, I'd, take him on to the World Cup as captain, and then that really should be the end of it. For a number of reasons. I think Ricky might try and tell you that the criticism of his captaincy hasn't got to him, but that belies what's going on out in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying to do so many different things and say, look at what I'm doing, instead of just captaining the team and letting things, even if he just let the game run its course, he would be better off than what he's doing. I mean, he's confusing the hell out of the bowlers. When you change field placings 3 times in an over, the bowler's got no clue what he's trying to do. But go back to the Adelaide Oval Test match, I think it was Cook, not sure how early in his innings, but he got an inside edge onto his thigh pad, popped up, would have gone to bat pad, but there wasn't one there.
Yeah.
Trott got bounced by, could have been Siddle, might have been Ryan Harris. Got it on the splice, ballooned up in the air, landed, a couple of yards from the square leg umpire. No one there. Now, they're called traditional field placings because traditionally that's where a lot of the catches go. So, even if you don't do much else as a captain, if you stick them in the traditional catching positions and the guys bowl all right, you'll do fairly well.
Yes.
But, what's happened, and this is not just Ricky Ponting, this is all of them, you put Point out, automatic. Point goes boom, out on the boundary, backward square leg, boom, goes out on the boundary. Now the bowler runs into bowls saying, if I bowl a rubbish ball on the pads, it'll only cost me 1.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He bowls a rubbish ball on the pads. But if he runs in with the field in proper position and he bowls a rubbish ball on the pads, he gets hit for 4, that's a pretty good indication, don't do that again.
Yeah, good point.
And if he keeps doing it, then the captain goes to the selectors and says, mate, this fella can't bowl to his field, what about you find someone who can?
Yeah.
Good point. Chappell, what are your expectations from Australia? Look, Australia are a better side than we saw in Adelaide. When you're 3 for 2 on day 1 at the Adelaide Oval, you really are pushing the proverbial uphill. They're a better side, Matt. There's no doubt about that. What are your expectations from the boys in WA?
Well, if they play to their ability, they're behind England, but not that far behind England. And if Ricky Ponting were to get 150 in Perth, that would make an unbelievable difference to the Australian team.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to looking for a precedent. I'd sum up your question this way, KG. Go back to 1936-37. Bradman's first series as captain. He loses the first 2 Test matches to England. 2-0 down in a 5-Test series. No team has ever come back to win a series from there. His team did. They finished up winning at 3-2. Have a look what Bradman did in the last 3 Tests. I think you'll find 2 doubles and a big century. And I would say that is the sort of thing, I mean, Ricky's not going to be another Don Bradman.
No.
And not a couple of double. But if he could get 150 in Perth, boy, that would cover over a lot of the cracks that are shown in this Australian side. It would give the team so much confidence. It would help Ricky enormously. But I think he's captaining looking for revenge, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point.
And if you're out there going for revenge, you're in the wrong mindset for the game.
Yeah.
And I think he's got so tight himself, and once the captain gets tight, things aren't panning out. Everybody else gets tight, and I think he's got to try and relax. He's not having any luck as a batsman.
No.
Let's be fair. I think he's in pretty decent form, actually. But as soon as he makes a mistake, boom, he's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas Hussey, first test match, nicked it. It landed, a foot in front of second slip. He could have been out first ball for naught. He goes and gets a terrific 100. He then, he got a bit of a break somewhere early in Adelaide. He's playing tremendously well. But, Ricky is at the other end of the scale. He looked very good in Brisbane in the second innings.
Yep.
But, he made a mistake first ball, which anybody can do in Adelaide, or not a mistake. He got a very good ball in Adelaide. He got caught down the leg side in Brisbane. Well, those sort of things happen when things aren't going well for you.
Yeah, correct.
So I think he just needs a break. But if he could turn a break into 150, boy, life would look a lot brighter for him.
Exactly. Chappell, what about the publicity that occurred this week involving yours truly and Mr. Botham? You obviously weren't happy about it.
Well, it's amazing how fairy tales seem to follow that bloke around. If he's not telling them, someone else is writing fairy tales. But yeah, there were words spoken in the car park, and that's all that happened. There was, this rubbish about us having to be separated and having each other by the throat. Well, gee whiz, I'm 67. I've avoided getting into fights for that many years. Why am I going to start now? Not a good age to start your boxing career. Talk to Anthony Mundine. He probably thinks 35 is a good time to finish it. But no, it was and you see, the guy who wrote the rubbish, one, he's in London.
Yep.
So, someone's obviously told him something, but he's a fairy tale writer as well. I've had the run-in with him a couple of times. And, in fact, he's so well liked in the media in the UK that when I had words with him in Cardiff in 2009,
yep,
and that was over something he wrote about Shane Warne,
yeah.
When I had words with him, four journos, two of them photographers and two of them written journos, came up to me and thanked me for having a go at him. And I said, why? And they said, well, I won't tell you exactly what they said about him. And I said, well, why don't you tell him that? And they said, oh, no, we're not going to, but we're bloody glad you did, though. So, there's a bit of history there, and that guy would have loved to, he can't help himself embellishing because that's what he does for a living. He writes a muckraking column. But
there's no love lost between you and Ian?
Okay, gee, never has been. And, the best thing is if I could just totally avoid having anything to do with the guy for the rest of my life, that would be fantastic. Some clown in India, and I got an email from him, and he asked me if I'd be prepared to sit down with, how about this? If I would be prepared to sit down either with Gary Sobers,
yeah,
or with Chappell Dev, or with Imran Khan, or with Richard Hadley, acting as the mediator, over a beer and sort things out with both of them. And he's written in his column that I had to hide not to reply to his email. And interestingly, the four responses he got from all four guys was, it's nothing to do with us. But a lot of people keep saying to me, you should sort it out. It's been going on so long, you should just get it sorted out. What do I want to talk to that guy for? He's the most boring bloke on this earth. He's got a very long distance, and when I'm talking long distance, I'm talking Brisbane to Perth long distance association with the truth. He's the worst commentator you've ever heard. Now, why the hell would I want to spend time with him, getting the pants board off?
I tell you what, he causes these seasons, I can tell you. Chappell, we appreciate your time, Ian, and have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll catch up in the new year, Ian.
Thanks a lot, KG.